This is my first attempt at doing a video review. We'll see how I do here, but I'm going to review the Asus Eee PC 901. This is the new mini sub-notebook computer available from Asus in their Eee PC line. As you can see, the size on this model is pretty much the same as the 700 series models, and compared to a 15-inch Dell notebook, you can see it's quite compact, and it's very easy to carry around. In fact, if you want a comparison, it is about the size of a portable DVD player. Although it tends to be thinner, as you can see, and we'll just take a quick exploration around the ports here. On the left-hand side, you see the Ethernet connector, which is 1000 Ethernet. It has a single USB 2 port on the left. There's a vent for the cooling system, and microphone and headphone jacks for the audio system. And it also has a Kensington-compatible lock slot. On the right-hand side is the Eee PC's always included SD card reader, which also reads MMC cards. This card reader, unlike previous Eee models, is interesting because it virtually disconnects itself from the USB bus when the card is removed, meaning that you will not have a unused removable disk drive letter on your machine when you don't have an SD card installed. Continuing on, there's the 2 additional USB ports, bringing the total to 3, as is on all the Eee models, and the VGA video port for connecting to an external display. Also, the power port has been moved from the previous models to the side. As you can see, my adapter is plugged in right there. As in previous Eee models, there's no clip or clasp to hold the display closed. It simply lifts up and snaps down like that. Inside is the same keyboard as you see on previous Eee models, but additionally there's this bar across the top which contains some new function keys, and as well as the power button, which has been moved from the hinge down to this bar of buttons. The mouse touchpad also now features the multi-touch, where you can use several fingers at once on the touchpad to accomplish some different shortcuts. For instance, instead of running your finger down the edge for scroll, now you can use 2 fingers anywhere on the touchpad to obtain scrolling functionality. The battery is on the bottom, and we'll flip the machine over. Right here is the cover where you can upgrade the memory and also the solid-state drive, which we're going to get to in a second. And the battery right here is a 6600 milliamp hour battery. It's a little bit of a different form factor, but similar to that of the previous Ee's. And this battery, combined with the new Intel Atom processor, which is what's used in the new Eee, will give you approximately 6 to 8 hours of runtime if you choose to use the low power saving mode, which still is very adequate performance for many tasks. Now, about the solid state drive. The device includes a 4 GB onboard soldered solid state drive. This is SLC flash, so it's very reliable and it's very fast compared to the secondary flash, which we're going to discuss in a moment. The 4 GB flash, if you have the Linux model, contains the Linux operating system and the non-volatile pre-configured base system, and on Windows it contains your Windows OS and your program files. Now, if you purchase this machine from Asus with a Windows XP home license, you receive an 8 GB secondary SSD, and if you purchase it with Linux, you get a 16 GB secondary SSD. On Windows, these SSDs would appear as a second drive, so you'd have a D drive. The secondary SSD actually installs under that door on the bottom that we looked at, and it is MLC flash, meaning the ones from Asus rather are MLC flash, meaning that it's a little bit slower, and it has a noticeable performance hit when you are writing data to the flash storage. Reading tends to be pretty comparable to the SLC flash, but writing tends to really lag the system. So therefore, the secondary flash tends to be most useful to store data. On Linux, the /home directory is mapped to this secondary SSD, and on Windows, you can just arbitrarily store data there, or you could map your My Documents folder to that drive if you wanted. In Windows, it would appear as a D drive. It is also possible through third parties to upgrade the secondary SSD because it's simply a mini PCI connector drive, and I've seen 16 GB SLC disks available, and I've also seen up to 64 GB MLC disks that you could purchase third-party on places such as eBay. 64 gigabytes would give you plenty of storage to store a lot of music or even videos or movies if you wanted to do that, because this device actually does make a really neat portable media player as well. I'm going to go ahead and power the device on, and as you know, since this is a standard PC, it will show us a BIOS, which I've configured to show the text. I've configured this particular instance of Windows XP to not display the splash screen to afford us a little bit of extra savings on boot time. There's also an integrated 1.3 megapixel camera up here, which is very great if you want to make YouTube videos, and or do video conferencing or Skype video calls, things like that. And it includes a built-in wireless adapter, as all the EEs have. This one is an 802.11n compliant adapter, so it supports the new improved range and speeds of the 802.11n standard, and it's also fully backwards compatible with G and B 802.11 standards. It also includes built-in Bluetooth, and if you have Windows, this Bluetooth capability is provided care of the Widcom Bluetooth stack, which in my opinion is an excellent stack because it offers a very flexible platform for working with your Bluetooth devices. And it also allows your computer to provide Bluetooth services, including even being the speaker and microphone for your cell phone. It basically will emulate a headset to your cell phone. The touchpad, as I said, is multi-touch. For instance, I can take 3 fingers and slide them and open my computer window. That's a neat trick. Going down will give me an Alt-Tab if I had multiple applications open. Now let's talk about this bar of buttons across the top. The button on the left turns off the display. It actually blanks the display. This doesn't tend to be that useful except as a power saving measure, because if you blank your display, if you're going away for a moment or you're just not reading the display right now, it saves a little bit of battery power. And then to turn it back on, you simply press a key or move the mouse. The second key actually switches between the various screen resolutions available on the EEE. Normally this screen runs at 1024 by 600 resolution, and that's a good resolution for viewing web pages. The problem with the previous EEEs tended to be that the screen was small. It was only 800 by 480, which tended to sometimes clip off some vertical detail and also didn't give a lot of viewing area. This screen, being 8.9 inches, is a lot more expansive, and it's visually noticeable that there's more screen area, and web pages, for those who are reading visually, tend to be a lot more clearly rendered, and there's a lot more viewing area. The various other resolutions available are a scaled 800 by 600 resolution if that's needed. It also has, just like the previous EEEs, a 1024 by 768 resolution that follows the mouse, so it's an expanded. And new to this model is a 1024 by 768 vertically compressed resolution, which will squeeze vertically the full 1024 by 768 onto this display. The third button switches between the various power modes. Let's talk about those for a moment. The native speed of the processor is 1.6 gigahertz. Intel Atom is the new very power efficient processor provided by Intel. The normal mode of this processor is 1.6 gigahertz, which corresponds to the normal power saving mode. The power saving mode, the power efficient mode, underclocks the processor to 1.2 gigahertz. And while this seems like quite a hit, it actually isn't. 1.2 gigahertz is still very acceptable performance for most anything you'd need to do on this kind of machine. You can word process, read, access websites, even play some games or watch videos and play music at 1.2 gigahertz without a significant performance penalty. There's also a super performance 1.8 gigahertz. It actually is overclocked in the BIOS to allow you to experience the maximum possible performance. It ships with 1 gigabyte of memory, and that's upgradable to 2. It's DDR2 laptop memory. And also, it has the power adapter is a newer style which provides more power to the unit and charges the battery a lot faster. It sells for about $500, and the Linux model comes with a 20 gigabyte total storage with a 16 gigabyte secondary SSD, and the Windows model comes with a Windows XP home license and an 8 gigabyte secondary SSD, giving you a total of 12 gigabytes. The device is available from sites such as Newegg, and I also understand it's going to be available in retail very soon. So this concludes my review of the EE901. I hope you've enjoyed it, and Hope to talk to you soon.